Well, hey, how you doing? And welcome to the second installment of That Dude Reads Children's Literature. This is uh, a TikTok series where I just read kids' literature and offer my take on it. Today's installment is Curious George, and the title is Good Night Zoo. Now, there's no author to this book, apparently. The author, whoever they were, didn't want to take ownership of the book. Maybe they were embarrassed, or I don't know the reasoning behind it. But in any case, let's begin. There was a new baby panda just born at the zoo. Here's the picture. That's exciting news. You know, when a new panda is born, it's a cause for celebration. George had been watching the zoo's panda cam all day long. So apparently, George is a pandaphile. I guess we could take that from this book already. The panda was so cute. Well, you know, I guess you have to be into pandas. I could take or leave them. But in any case, we go on. You know, the zoo is right down the block, the man with the yellow hat told George. You can go and see the panda for yourself. But before the man could finish, George was gone. So George just left. He has no manners, this monkey. You know, I'm not being derogatory calling him a monkey. He's a literal monkey. But in any case, he left during, he just abruptly bolted from the place. He just skedaddled, and basically the next scene he's already at the zoo. Okay, so George got to the zoo and had one thing on his mind: baby panda. He's obsessed. There were so many different paths at the zoo. How could he ever find the baby panda? Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not like they say panda this way as soon as you walk into the zoo. You're going to have to do some research. So I guess usually at the front of these places there might be a guy offering up directions, giving information, but in this case there was not. So George came upon this sign. Now this sign presents what looks like a map. And if you look at the center, that's where the baby panda is. So if we read on, it says, then George saw a nice big map of the zoo. The baby panda's home was right in the middle of the zoo. The map helped him figure out which way to go. Well, that's a useful thing to have, a map. Now we use GPS, but in the days of this book, they didn't use it, or maybe they don't want kids to deal with any technical information, so he's using a map. Okay. Seeing them, and the next, wow, he's already at the place. Okay, seeing the baby panda in person was much better than watching it on the screen. George could look at that panda for hours, and so he did. Well, this is a real obsession here. It's a little sick, isn't it? Okay, anyway, before he knew it, it was dark. Wow, he's been just looking at this panda for hours. Didn't go to the bathroom, didn't check his cell phone. Well, I don't know if George had a cell phone. You know, but usually people do something else besides just look at an animal for hours. But apparently he was content to just stand there and gaze at this panda. The panda was getting sleepy, oh, no doubt. And so was George. George knew he'd better get home. Time flies when you're watching a baby panda. Well, I'll have to take his word for it. I really don't know. I've never spent that kind of time watching pandas. Okay, but when George walked out of the panda habitat, the lights were off. You can see the lights dimmed. Actually, it still seems kind of bright in this picture, if you ask me. But anyway, the lights were off, so they apparently shut everything down, I guess. All the people were gone. George was locked in the zoo. How could he find his way out? Now, that's a true dilemma. You know, he's facing a crossroads here. Okay, let's go on. George couldn't remember which path led back to the zoo's entrance. Neither can I. Well, he only was there one time. He started in one direction and spotted some keys in a hut. Okay, well, that's nice, but keys open doors and doors let you out. So he came to that realization, except who's to say where the key belonged? I mean, the key could open anything, really. All George had to do was find the right door to get out of the zoo. Well, yeah, there you go. But there were lots of doors at the zoo. So wait a minute, he just opened doors randomly, especially with a lion in there, apparently. So no discretion, he has no stranger danger regarding animals. I don't know. Just randomly opening doors willy-nilly. George tried door after door. None of them was the right one. So he's just opening cages to these animals, right? Soon he was back where he started, by the baby panda, and so were the rest of the animals. So he let them all out. So it's like chaos here at the zoo. He just let all the animals out. Just sheer pandemonium. George must have forgotten to lock all the doors he opened. Well, that wasn't very bright. He just opened the doors. What fun, George thought. This was what all zoos should be like. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that the people would come then if they, that the potential to be attacked by wild animals. I don't think it would be much of a, an attraction there. But that is until he realized that all the animals were waking the baby panda. Right. So he only cares about this panda and whether this panda gets a good night's sleep, apparently. That's the only thing on Curious George's mind right now. George knew what to do. He had to put all the animals back. He went as quickly as he could, so he's putting them all back, right? Well, that's good. That's good he had that sense of responsibility, right? But none of the animals seemed happy. Now, I wonder why that is. Now, if you look at the picture, the animals look like they're not in the right place. Maybe meerkats didn't live on ice. Well, yeah, I would think not. And those giraffes were awfully tall for that small cave, well, evidently. Were orangutans supposed to be in water? George knew that different animals had different needs. Really, he knew that. He realized that he had put the animals back in the wrong places. George needed to get all the animals back to their correct habitats. The penguins lived on the ice, the flamingos needed water. Luckily, George found an extra zoo map. Well, there's just maps everywhere, isn't there, at the zoo? So he just happened upon a map, okay. Now he could easily see where all the animals lived. Just maps of the zoo lying around, along with keys to open cages. It's just that the security of this place is crappy, frankly. Meanwhile, the man with the yellow hat was at home waiting for George. Wait, he's still watching the panda on this cam? This guy's a pervert. The man looked at the panda cam. George was still inside the zoo after closing time. The man rushed to go find him. Back at the zoo, George had finally gotten the meerkats, orangutans, and penguins. Flamingos, bats, and giraffes back to where they belonged. They had bats in the zoo? It's a lot odd. But he put them apparently back in the right places this time. The animals were happy to be back in their own habitats. Phew. That's good news. Yes, George had gotten everyone home except himself. George checked his map. Luckily, he was very close to the zoo's entrance. So you see there, he's very close to getting out. And even better, the man with the yellow hat was there waiting for him. Well, that's great news and very convenient. George climbed over the wall and jumped into the man's arms. I don't know if this is the time for romance, but I guess he was happy to see the man, and that's nice. Did you like the baby panda, the man with the yellow hat asked. George sure did. He took the man's hand, and they walked home together. George was exactly where he belonged. Well, I'm glad things worked out for George, and he had a good day at the zoo with his baby panda, and that's what we like to hear. So that's been this installment of That Dude Reads Children's Literature. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you all again, and until then, I'm not going to say have a blessed day. I don't do that, but have a good day.